Good morning, televiewers, and welcome to this other edition of The Brief, live on My Media Prime Television, your favorite bilingual program where we get to dig several layers beneath some of the striking headlines that we gather in the papers. And on today's edition of the program, we are revisiting the draws for AFCON 2021 in the country, the draws which took place yesterday at Palais de Congrès in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé. And we shall equally talk about what is happening in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon. We're talking about the Anglophone crisis, the fallout of the crisis, as the newspapers are telling us this morning. Etape Quentin is already with us in the studio, and he will be reading the French headlines, or the headlines in the French language for us. Good morning, Etape Quentin, and welcome once again.
Thank you, Mr. Lasha. Good morning. Bonjour à nos millions de téléspectateurs qui nous regardent en ce moment. Eh bien, la presse est quelque part dominée par le tirage au sort de la CAN Total 2021 qui a eu lieu hier à Yaoundé. Et on va également parler de la concertation de la CEMAC qui aura lieu aujourd'hui, toujours à Yaoundé. Eh bien, beaucoup de sujets seront à la table des discussions. Et puis, on va achever avec la santé pour parler justement de cette sensibilisation contre le sida pendant cette vacance. Eh bien, mesdames et messieurs, bonjour et bienvenue une fois de plus à cette grande revue de presse bilingue de votre programme. Et de centaines de jeunes en marge de cette sensibilisation. Apprend-on dans ce journal que 600 pères éducateurs des 10 régions vont se déployer sur le terrain du 13 août 2021. Eh bien, un dossier à retrouver dans les colonnes des pages 6 et 7 de ce journal en kiosque ce matin. Et puis fermons le quotidien Éco-Santé pour ouvrir maintenant celui de l'Eco-News qui parle naturellement de l'économie et titre en sa grande une: Commission CEMAC, bilan du président Daniel Onaondo. Dans les pages 5, 6 et 7 de ce journal, on peut savoir à travers ce numéro que le président de la Commission de la Communauté économique et monétaire de l'Afrique centrale a su anticiper sur les solutions aux difficultés rencontrées de la mise en œuvre des projets intégrateurs à la gestion des chocs exogène en passant par l'harmonisation du travail au sein de la commission de la CEMAC qui est le président Daniel Onaondo. En tout cas, son portrait vous est dressé dans ce numéro en kiosque ce matin au pied de sa parution. Le même journal vous livre les enjeux du sommet extraordinaire de la CEMAC qui se tient ce mercredi 18 août 2021 à Yaoundé. Une information à lire bien sûr à la page 3 de ce journal en kiosque ce matin. Poursuivons notre exercice avec le même thème dans le quotidien à capitaux gouvernemental Cameroun. Tribune qui est arrivée à notre rédaction ce matin va plus loin dans les discussions inscrites à l'ordre du jour de ce sommet de la CEMAC. D'après le journal de Marie-Claire Nana, le président de la République Paul Biya, en tant que président en exercice de la conférence des chefs d'État et de gouvernement de la CEMAC, a convoqué pour ce jour une concertation par visioconférence et donc au menu des échanges, plusieurs sujets y sont inscrits. Il s'agit notamment de la situation économique de la sous-région, la mobilisation en faveur de la vaccination contre le Covid-19 et des questions de sécurité à lire entre les lignes des pages 3 et 5. Le même journal au pied gauche de sa une s'intéresse aussi au sport et titre tirage au sort de la CAN Total Énergie 2021. La cérémonie de l'événement riche en couleurs a eu lieu hier mardi au Palais des Congrès à Yaoundé en présence du président de la CAF, Patrice Motsepe. Ce tirage au sort a permis aux 24 équipes qualifiées pour la CAN de connaître leur groupe, leurs adversaires et les sites dans lesquels elles vont compétir. Dans la poule A, le Cameroun jouera le match d'ouverture contre le Burkina Faso au nouveau stade du site d'Olembe le 9 janvier 2022. Pour plus de précision, je vous invite à parcourir ce journal à la page 3 et 5 dans les kiosques ce matin. Et puis terminons très rapidement avec la politique dans le quotidien Info Matin qui consacre à sa grande une protection des institutions à Tangandi, mais quant au chaos Plus loin dans son développement, ce journal informe que le ministre de l'administration
Cameroonians have fled to Chad following inter-urban or inter-tribal clashes between two ethnic groups in Logona Shari division in the far north region of Cameroon. Chadian authorities Monday said over 11,000 Cameroonians fleeing clashes between herders and fishermen in the far north region of Cameroon had arrived at Chad soil for safety. The fleeing villagers reportedly stepped foot on Chadian soil at the weekend, a provincial governor in Chad said on Monday. At least 20 persons are believed to have been killed and 50 injured following inter-ethnic clashes between Mosgoum fishermen and Shua Arab herders. More details on page 2 of this edition of the Post newspaper, or the Guardian Post newspaper. Let's talk about Ambazonia War of Independence. We are told by the Guardian Post this morning that some faces that you see on your screen have apparently abandoned the said struggle. So the Guardian Post is questioning this morning if they have silently abandoned the struggle. In the likes of Eric Tato, Tapang Ivo, Mark Barita, Ebenezer Akwanga, John Ba Akuru, Bobga Harmony, just to name these few. Those are the faces who have been championing or orchestrating what is happening in the northwest and southwest regions of the country, and their silence, according to the Guardian Post newspaper, is a proof that they have all abandoned the struggle for a free Ambazonia, as the paper has put it this morning. We stay with the Guardian Post newspaper to talk about the United Cameroon for Peace and Progress Party that clocks one, according to the paper, the achievements of the said political party only in this edition of the said newspaper. Let's leave the Guardian Post newspaper. We are with the Eden newspaper, which is interested in the return of President Paul Biya to Cameroon from Europe. President Paul Biya to chair crucial CEMAC summit today in Yaoundé. His return sends skeptics gasping for air. President Paul Biya, who has spent over 35 days in Europe for a private stay, returned home on Sunday and will be chairing the CEMAC Head of State's meeting today through video conferencing. And let's leave the Eden newspaper. The media on its part is interested in death of a member of parliament for the ruling CPDM party, Parliament of Death, titled the media newspaper. Another CPDM MP dies. According to the paper, the death has been announced of Honorable Ngaba Zogu, that's Salome, CPDM MP for Leke East in the central region of Cameroon. The member of the Committee on Education and Vocational Training died on Sunday, August 15, 2021, at the hospital in Yaoundé. House Speaker Kavayege announced on Sunday evening of the death of that said MP. Her death brings to number 9 MPs of the ruling CPDM party who have so far died since the beginning of this year. Let's stay with the media newspaper to talk about notorious succession saga. Rebecca Enonchong wanted in Yaoundé court, according to an arrest warrant mandat d'amener issued on 11 November 2020. The examining magistrates of the Yaoundé or at the Yaoundé High Court ordered and commended judicial police officers to arrest and bring to him Rebecca Enonchong, the Rebecca Enonchong who is being accused of possessing a birth certificate of doubtful origin and authenticity. It is intriguing to note that since the warrant of arrest that was issued on November 11, Rebecca Enonchong is still free and moving about without any interruption. Let's continue with this other headline that has to do with the return of President Paul Biya from Europe. After 35 days abroad, Biya returns to Cameroon and he was received by militants of the ruling CPDM party as well as top government officials at the Yaoundé Simalen International Airport. We continue with the Sun newspaper. The Sun is interested in the draws for AFCON 2021. A toe's hand of luck, writes the Sun newspaper. Cameroon gets a winnable group thanks to the Legends' last pick All 6 groups considered balanced. More details about the ceremony which took place at the Yaoundé Conference Center yesterday. Only in this edition of the Sun newspaper, the Sun is also reporting on Biya's return from Europe after 35 days. Biya to chair the CEMAC Summit Head of State meeting. President Paul Biya, who is currently the chairperson of the said institution, convened the meeting, and the meeting will take place today through video conferencing, as we are told. The Minister of Youth Affairs, Lord Shantabia's steadfastness in fight against HIV in the country. And also Southwest journalists given deeper insight on decentralization law. You can get more details about the said insight that was given to Southwest journalists only in this edition of the Sun newspaper. And this worry by an Afghan. We are told that Afghanistan civilians fear for what Taliban rule will mean for women in the country. They said, civilians said, I am afraid about all those girls who are in Afghanistan. It should be recalled that the Taliban took over the presidential palace a few days ago after the president fled to America, as we are told by the said newspaper. Thank you for watching, televiewers. We are back in the studio to continue with our discussions this morning, and we are receiving a human rights defender in the person of Amadou and Tarnteh. Amadou, welcome once again.
Good morning, Mr. Lasha, and good morning to the telespectators of My Media Prime Television.
Yeah, it's good to have you. We are good to have you this morning once again, and it's always a pleasure having you. Let's talk about the return of President Paul Biya to Cameroon. President Paul Biya returned on Sunday, and many people were already asking questions, as we all know. Vacancy, President Paul Biya, if he spent more than 40 days abroad, it means that he is incapacitated. And Biya came just 5 days to the expiry. What do you have to say to this?
Okay, let me start by formally welcoming His Excellency President Paul Biya back to the country after
35 days.
35 days of absence in the country. So it's really a pleasure for us to have him once more again, because you know, the return of His Excellency President Paul Biya was highly awaited by us Cameroonians, and particularly those of us from the Anglophone regions who have been expecting a lot of things from President Paul Biya. You know, for the past time that we have been going through pains, even though President Paul Biya had been here before, he listened to our cries, but nothing concrete serious had been taken to with regards to the problem we have been crying on a daily basis. But we are praying that as his return to Cameroon should, in fact, his coming back should be with a lot of enthusiasm with regards to the current crisis that is going on in Anglophone regions, because we have cried before. I would pray that when he comes back now, he will listen to the cries of the people and took measures to make sure that we come out of this mess.
Why is it that most of you Cameroonians, you believe that it's only when Biya is back from abroad that he takes certain major decisions? Like what many people are saying, he declared war in the northwest and southwest from the airport.
You know that you can bear with me that the country does not function alone. You have different partners, both international partners.
Well, he was on a private stay. He went for a private stay.
Yes, it's true that he was on a private stay, but during his private stay, we were equally seeing some document that he was signing, some other things. The fact that he was on private stay does not stop him from working. At least the fact that he was on private stay, he can still take that opportunity to meet some of his close collaborators or stakeholders whom he has been working with them to make sure that maybe they look for amicable way or possible ways of taking us out of this crisis.
Okay, let's also talk about the CEMAC Head of States meeting that he will be chairing today via videos conference. President Paul Biya is currently the chairperson of the CEMAC Head of States block. We are talking about the institution. And top on the agenda will be, the economic growth, COVID-19, vaccination. Is it really the worries of the countries of the CEMAC? Is that supposed to be priority? Are there no other things that would have preoccupied this head of states of the CEMAC sub-region?
Thank you. Generally, we know that this might not be the priority, because we know that the first priority, the first most important thing we have here is the issue of peace. And it's this sub-Saharan African country, where this particularly CEMAC country, where these different countries are going through serious threat to peace. Though we're not saying that all the time the meeting is supposed to only be on peace, because we're going to have a serious economic crisis that have in our regions, which has been due to the the COVID-19 issue, because the COVID-19 issue has almost bring some of this country to zero. Same as the crisis, the different crises that are ongoing in the sub-region. These crises are like they have bring all these regions into their news. So we are equally praying that this, we know very well that this is equally part of the things that will equally help us, because we are not going to concentrate only on security, even though we know very well that without peace nothing will move forward. But we keep saying that their meeting is very, very important for us in the CEMAC region. Yeah,
it should be recalled that when the COVID-19 came, ministers of health of CEMAC sub-region met in Douala, here at in Douala, at La Falaise Hotel, and they adopted over 3 billion francs CFA as fund set aside for the fight against COVID-19. But we've not heard anything since the meeting, which was of course chaired by Dr. Manauda Malachi here in Douala, the economic capital of Cameroon.
That's all these things that we know very well, but we don't want to look into it, because we already know very well that Africa, most of Africans, our African leaders, they are not always accountable to their people on issues as because normally we know very well that they owe us as citizens the obligations to give a daily accounts on, or to be accountable to their citizens on whatsoever they are doing. But with this one, they don't. Since they have not done it, we have decided to stay quiet to watch them and see what they want to do, because we are
probably they will be revisiting that today. Let's also talk about draws for AFCON 2021, which took place in Cameroon, in Yaoundé. That was last night, and Cameroon. The pools are now known, and Cameroon will be playing in Pool A, as we all know, alongside other countries like Cape Verde. So what caught your attention in the draws?
This is really a very welcome initiative, because
people are saying that the hand, like the Sun newspaper, the hand of Samuel Eto'o made the magic.
Well, whether it's the hand of Samuel Eto'o or not, but it's very welcome, because for the past while it was really unfortunate that a country like Cameroon, which is one of the best countries in terms of football in Africa, have not been able to organize a tournament as such due to lack of infrastructures and all the rest. But we are really thankful to the Cameroonian authorities for taking these measures this time around to make sure that Cameroon really hosts this nation after this cup after failing the previous year.
Okay. Etape Quentin.
Voilà, je vais parler avec lui, question de santé actuellement. On parle souvent de la vaccination ou bien de la campagne ou bien de la sensibilisation pour les vacances sans sida 2021. Eh bien, est-ce que cette mesure n'arrive pas tard? Est-ce que on ne peut pas dire que nous sommes presque à la fin des vacances?
It's never late. We often say that it's preferable that we should be late than never. So it's not late. It's still very important for us, even though it's coming at the end of this period of time, but it was still very necessary. So we just thank God that finally they have looked into it, and I think that it's very important for our youth to be sensitized on this issue of SIDA and all the rest.
Okay, let's end with the Guardian Post newspaper this morning. That is bringing to us some faces, some prominent faces of the Ambazonian independence dream, as the paper titles, in the likes of Eric Tato, Mark Barita, Tapan Ivo, Beniza Kwangwa, Bo Ebet, John Ba Akuru. And the paper is telling us this morning that apparently these guys have abandoned the struggle. We are no more hearing anything from them. They've deceived people into getting into the struggle, and now they have abandoned them halfway. What do you have to say?
To the best of my knowledge, some of these things are mere distractions. I would even consider this newspaper, the Guardian Post, as one of those who are those who are impeding peace in Cameroon here in one way or the other. Because this thing will give very bad impression to some of the people who are listening or who are watching to this newspaper. So those who are far away, they don't know exactly what is happening on the ground. They will not know exactly what is happening. They will have that impression that maybe the guys are not
hearing anything from this.
Yes, people initially this battle used to be fought more on social media. Most of them were not only through social media, but today the battle has long past the level of social media. So we are seeing what is going on the field.
So are you telling us that they are still
a struggle as such? Not everybody that will be seen on the battlefront, on the forefront. There are some people that are fighting on the background. So this thing is very normal. Even though some of them might have decided, but we are still on the ground.
Papa Ivo owns a TV channel known as Rebel TV. We are no longer hearing anything from him.
No, well, I don't have any knowledge to that effect, but I will continue to tell us Cameroonians that we should avoid some of these distractions, some of these newspapers that are coming to distract us from the issue. Because we are Cameroonians and we are seeing what is happening on the ground on a daily basis. So when somebody comes to tell us that because the absence of these people and
we are talking about these faces.
Yes,
we know some other faces like that of Ayabacho and other names that they are not very much. I mean, their presence on the social media is not felt.
That's what I'm telling you. That somebody like Mark Barretta, someone like Tapang Ivory, we were known through social media, particularly on Facebook.
And they have done a lot through the social media.
They did a lot to take the store where it is now, but after some time, maybe they had to go back, and when the store was above the level of social media, I assume that maybe they went back now and started for the parties to continue as what we are seeing on a daily basis.
They are telling us that the guys are still very much in control.
They are still very much in control. We are seeing them on social media. No, they are not like regular, or they are not well followed as they used to be before.
So what should the government do? What should we
continue to tell the government that the government should do everything possible to engage in an amicable settlement with the other parties that are directly involved in this conflict, so that we can have an amicable end to this conflict. Our coalition continue to talk on the issue of ceasefire, because ceasefire is not the most important thing. We cannot say anything where there's no ceasefire. I pray that the ceasefire, and after the ceasefire, the government should now engage in direct contact with the direct dialogue, in sincere dialogue with this other party, so that we can seek an amicable end to the crisis.
So where are we with the resolutions of the coalition for dialogue, you guys?
No, we give resolution where we are civil society actors. So our role is just to recommend. We give recommendations of calling on the different parties, on the stakeholders, to look into the recommendation and look at possible ways of taking out of the crisis.
What is the feedback?
The president is now out of the country, so we are expecting the
government side alone. Let's talk about the other side. The other people are carrying the guns.
No, it's not those who are directly carrying the gun that most of the message are sponsoring the gun. Yes, they are both of them, both the government and the separatist fighters who are fighting with regard to this issue. So all of them are concerned. So we are still expecting.
Is there any positive response coming from them? Like
for now, let me say that no, for now we cannot say anything, because there was nothing like ceasefire. I keep telling you that the ceasefire we need here is not unilateral ceasefire. It's bilateral ceasefire by both parties who are directly involved in this one.
So the government, those who have the moral obligation and the legitimacy to carry arms, they should drop the arms.
They will have what they are saying. As far as conflict is concerned, we know very well that there's nothing like a negotiation or dialogue when there's no ceasefire. We must only have ceasefire before we talk of dialogue, because we cannot be talking of one party demonstrating out while the other one is still holding hands. That one will not bring the peace that we want here in the Anglophone region.
The one is legitimate and the other is illegitimate.
I don't know if I have to keep repeating these things here every day. I told last time here that the United Nations Convention, the humanitarian law made it very clear that for an armed group to recognize within a state, that armed group must be united. That must have leaders and all the rest, and it must be controlling particular area within a state. And we know very well what is happening on the ground.
Okay, thank you so much, Amadou Tarnteh, for coming. You are human rights defender, and you work for an NGO, or you own an NGO which is very much present in the northwest and southwest regions of the country. Thank you so much for your time, sir.
Thank you very much.
Etape Quentin, we have come to the end of today's edition of the program. Thank you to televiewers for taking our time to watch this other edition of The Brief. The program was produced by Christain Tebong. For presentation, we've been Etape Quentin and myself, Lasha. Tomorrow is another day. Bye-bye.